Hi, ladies, and thank you for your show and time you give to this show. I was wondering with skills, after your initial assessment of your child, do you need to do another one in a few months or a year? For example, my child is 4. Do I need to reassess when he's 5, or does the skills program just adjust and add other skills? Also, is there a way to tell specifically what age your child should be for a particular type of skill? For example, some of the questions on skills asked about a specific perspective taking skill. Is there a way to tell what age my child should know that? My ABA person was looking at it and seemed to think some of the questions for my son's age, 4 years, 2 months, seemed advanced. I did explain it looks at emerging skills as well, but it would be helpful if the program was specific, especially since there are so many things we need to teach my child already. Which is very common for a 4-year-old, that there would be so many skills. I mean, that's part of why skills happen, right? It was that it used to be that you guys had a huge yellow piece of paper that went around a room, I'm told, that when they put it up, they had to go around the room that listed every skill that a child would need to learn by the time they turned 8, and that it became this insane piece of paper.
I never was around for that, by the way, but I have heard stories.
I want to see that piece of paper. I've heard stories about it. But that was like the genesis of this all needs to be in one place where everybody can have access to all of these different things. And originally it was going to be a book, and then it became Skills, this online tool.
Yeah.
It is a lot.
I think it would be helpful if I explained how and why we ended up with what we ended up with.
Okay.
So we realized we don't want to be missing any skills.
Right.
Right. So if our goal is to get kids caught up to where they should be for their age, we can't just go off of what we think we should teach. We need to actually do research and figure out what are the things that typically developing kids learn. So we thought, okay, well, what's the best way to do that? And we realized going to standardized assessments would be great, the ones that have ages assigned to all of the different items. The thing about that, though, is that I think we did about 15 or so different standardized assessments, and they don't all agree with each other on the ages. So for example, like I would find the Vineland would have a little bit older age for the same skill, that the Brigance would have a little bit younger age, and things like that. So what we did is we put it all in a spreadsheet. We put the skill, and then we put the assessments across the top, and then we put the age that they said.
Okay.
And then we had to come up with rules for which age we were going to choose to include in skills. So we decided that the way the system would work is that you would answer an assessment, and based on those results, you would have a pool of activities that your child needs to learn. So you said, no, my child can't do these things in assessment, so now here's all the things that they need to learn. And we didn't want to limit the things you could teach your child because we put a little bit older age on it. So when we made our rules, we decided to go with the younger ages. Okay, so first off, if you feel like some of the skills seem a little bit advanced, it's because we went with the most emerging age that we found.
Okay.
And then also, the other thing is that we found that the ages that people put on were like, random years and months. So it could be anything from like 3 years, 3 months to 3 years, 8 months, and stuff like that. And we needed just a way of filing the information in a quicker fashion and to bring up and have, it didn't seem that concrete, I guess you could say either, to say like at exactly 3 years and 3 months, kids do this stuff. We got the idea that this is kind of an emerging situation. It is, a continuum. Some kids are going to do it younger, some kids are going to do it later. So we decided to file everything into a 1-year bin.
Okay.
And so if it said 3.8, we put it in the 3 to 4-year-old bin.
And there's a lot of difference between somebody who just turned 3 and somebody who's 3 years, 8 months.
There's a really big difference.
There's a big difference there. So good information to have. But so what you're saying, help me if I'm wrong with this, Dr. Nadowski, is that let's say, for instance, it said this skill, the earliest possible time that we see it emerge is at 3 years, 10 months, then it would go into that 3-year bin.
3 to 4 bin.
And it might be that in some assessments said, we don't really see this emerging until 4 years and 10 months, but you didn't want to limit a child by that, the earliest possible time you could see it emerge, you put it into that year bin.
Exactly. Because the way the skills program works is it only presents assessment questions to you based on your child's chronological age. So you put in their birthday. If you say that they're a 4-year-old, then you're going to get questions that go from infant skills up to 4 years of age.
Right.
We don't want to limit things that they could work on in case they're on, the higher end, because basically if you can only answer questions going up to 4 years of age, then you only can get access to the curriculum that goes up to 4 years of age, right? And so we wanted you to have access to everything. So don't get hung up on all that stuff. I feel like people are stressing a little too much about this.
Okay, but the reality of what she's saying is that, you know, she wants to go in and she wants to teach things that are appropriate. But so would you say to her then, if you're looking at it and it looks like it's too advanced, then work on something that's earlier. Trust your gut?
Yeah, so what'll happen is, and the original question actually wanted to know if she has to reassess too, right?
Yes.
Okay, so when you first start the assessment, it's based on the chronological age. It goes from infant to the current chronological age. Once you're finished doing all of that, you actually don't have to ever go back and reassess anything that you've already assessed. But as your child has a birthday and gets older, every year there will be more questions that will come out. Yeah. So, and that's obviously because now they're a whole year older, so there's more things that you could potentially be working on. So it'll just be centered around the birth date of having to do a few more things.